Welcome to All Things Retreat podcast. I'm Holly Porter, your host and CEO of Retreat R&R. With over 25 years of experience in designing transformative retreats, I'm here to share insights and inspiration to help you create extraordinary experiences. Whether you're a pro or just starting out, you'll find valuable ideas here. Enjoy the ride. Let's dive in. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show. And if this is your first time joining us, we're excited that you found us. Whether you got referred to us or just landed on us by some chance, whatever it is, welcome to us today. And again, I always say I have great guests, but I really, really sincerely do. And today's another one for me, Shelley Bosworth. She's an international business and mindset coach, a keynote speaker and passionate advocate for empowering individuals to reach their full potential. With 25 years in the UK corporate world, including roles with Harrods, Starbucks, and Haven Caravan Parks, Shelley developed a unique ability to bridge strategy and people, leading large teams through growth and transformation. After a personal loss in 2019, she left the corporate world to launch her coaching business, helping individuals and businesses worldwide to overcome self-doubt and imposter syndrome. Known for her high energy, authentic, and no-nonsense approach, Shelley inspires courageous actions and mindset shifts that drive success. Life is too short not to go for what you want. Shelley's story is proof, and she's ready to help you write yours. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Holly. It's great to be here. That was a bit of a mouthful for you, wasn't it? Sorry.
I was like, a little tongue-tied twist or something going on. Yeah, anyway. That you're awesome. Just say that, right? I know.
Okay, that's it. I'm changing the bio. I'm Shelley. I'm awesome. Here we go.
Yes. Welcome. Please. Anyway, well, we're happy that you get to hang out with me for a little bit here and talk about retreats and the whys and hows and whats and things that have brought you to where you are now, because it's always exciting to meet new people for me and introduce them to my audience. So let's just start out with a couple questions here. What inspired you to start running retreats, and how did you know it was the right step in your business?
So, funny story. So I've been running my coaching business now for just over 5 years. And I had, very big ambitions, like we all do when we start out, I've ridden the ride, so to speak. But I always said I'd like to run retreats one day. And we have a long-term goal to live in Italy. So as part of that long-term vision, there was this, we'll live in Italy and I'll run these wonderful retreats. So that was this kind of big, ambitious dream. 2 years ago, we moved to Dubai. So as we were talking about before we came on, I now live in Dubai. And I was in the UK. So when I announced to my clients that we were leaving the UK and I was moving to Dubai, which wasn't a massive surprise, people knew we had some aspirations, I jokingly said, how about a retreat in Dubai, to a few of my clients? And a few of my clients said, yeah, I'd be there. And I genuinely just ran with it. So what happened was I left the UK, moved to Dubai, settled and sorted and got the business going and found myself. And, it sounds, well, it's exactly how it happened. I kind of just ran with it and asked the question again when I got here, and people said yes. And so I went, well, let's put a sales page together and get some deposits. And before I knew it, I had 6 people signed up for my first retreat. So it was always something I wanted to do, but I brought the timeline further forward quicker because I was in Dubai. So I ran my first retreat out here in Dubai 6 months after I moved here.
Wow.
Learned an awful lot in that first retreat. And a lot of people in my world know about our longer term goal to live in Italy. So what then transpired was, as many will, I'm sure, agree, if you're familiar with Dubai can be a little bit of a Marmite. It's a love or hate. It's not everybody's cup of tea. And so when I was marketing the Dubai retreat, I then had people saying, well, I don't really fancy coming to Dubai if you were to do something in Italy. So I decided to run a retreat in Italy. And so here we are 2 years later. I'm about to run my 4th retreat, my 2nd in Italy, in just a couple of months' time. I've run 2 out here. There is already, I haven't even marketed Dubai 2026, and there's already 2 people confirmed for that. And so, so now I run retreats, and that, that's a goal I had that we brought in faster. So that's how I got here.
I love it. How long are your retreats that you do?
So they are generally 3 to 4 days. So a lot of I do still have quite a lot of clients in the UK that come out to Dubai for them. In Dubai, I run them across the week. In Italy, I run them across a weekend. But they're 3 full days and then the shoulder days either side for travel and settling in and getting to know one another. Yeah.
Okay, so tell me why you would do one during the week and one on the weekend. What's the thinking behind that?
So in again, I very much take the approach in everything in business that it's an experiment, right? We try things, we see what works. And I ran the first retreat out here in Dubai, and and I guess there's a bit about two very different dynamics of countries as well. So here in Dubai, weekends are very busy, and so when I run my retreats, whilst I take them into a bubble, if you like, we also go out and they don't come all this way to not leave a house, so to speak. So it just I don't think I really thought it through for the first one. I just ran it from Monday to Friday with travel times. And then I had some feedback from a few people around actually taking time out during the week. And whilst there was a bit of inner conflict for me, because I believe that business retreats are absolutely business, they are integral to our business, and they shouldn't, no one should feel they cannot do it during their working time. Equally, I've got clients that have got families, and so I had a bit of feedback around actually weekdays would be quite challenging for me. Would you ever consider a weekend? So when I decided to run the Italy retreat, I put that across a weekend. If I'm really honest, I'm not sure if I should share this piece, but the flight times worked better for me from Dubai to Italy to do it over a weekend. And so naturally, it's just kind of evolved that's how that stayed. And will I change it? Maybe at some point, but right now it works. So yeah, I do one. The Italy retreat is over the weekend, and the Dubai retreat is during the week.
Nice. Well, thanks for your vulnerability. Really, I like that on the show because these people listening, again, or the listeners they're retreat leaders and
Yeah.
they're either aspiring to be or they've already been doing or they're somewhere in between. So
Mhm.
they love new ideas and they love the feedback. So please, yeah, anything you can share because that's going to help another leader. I love
Absolutely.
when people have paved the way, they've already gone in, they've rolled up their sleeves, they've done the work, they've made the mistakes so that we can help others so they don't have to go through that. And
Yes. Yeah.
it's it's how I like to learn. Yeah, I didn't
Well,
always learn that way.
well, and I've definitely looked at others and learned from their mistakes. I've made lots of mistakes, and I share with everybody that works with me. Look, don't go
Yeah.
make my mistakes. Let me tell you what did and didn't work for me, and then you can go and do it even quicker. So yeah,
Yeah.
more than happy to
Well,
share
and people
the
really
mistakes.
forget when we talk about vulnerability for a second here, they really forget that when you're vulnerable, how much like I tell my story, my near death story a lot now. It's coming up all the time. And it is part of what I'm doing now because of that. And so it's
Mm,
part of the story, but for a long time I just kind of shied away from it. It's interesting though, because I always think when I'm like guest on a podcast, if one person hears this and it changes their thinking about something or changes the way they do something, it
exactly.
shifts everything for me to be able to
Absolutely. And we when we make it real, it does someone will resonate with it. I totally agree with everything you just said. I'm always really conscious that, as a coach particularly, it's not about me, it's about my clients. It's absolutely about my clients. But if I can help a client or anybody that's listening right now by sharing the truth of my own situation, then my job is done today, because every day my goal in life is just to help one more person.
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like, I mean, we don't have to go into it, but you had a life thing change in 2019, we mentioned in your bio, and you don't have to talk about it necessarily unless you want to, but I'm just saying when things like that happen to us, sometimes we're not healed and we're in the trauma of it still. And then we decide, I'm just going to do a retreat. I would warn retreat leaders about that because really you shouldn't help teach something until you're through it. If you're still in
Absolutely
it,
agree.
you're too emotional. It's really a struggle. It's just like speakers. They shouldn't go speak on stage about something that they're not finished going through yet. And
I absolutely agree with you. And actually, even though my retreat journey started earlier than I planned, it was year 3 of my business. And so, and it's not linked to what we went through. And I'm more than happy talking about it. We went through some personal loss, and it was just the catalyst for us kind of going, what's it all for? What do we want for our life? It's why we ended up moving to Dubai. It's why we live the life we live. We're absolutely planning for a future, but we're living life now too. And that's, what it's all about. And that's what my work
whoa,
is all
say
about.
those words again. I think everybody should hear that. We're
I need to
absolutely
remember exactly how I worded it.
living. Okay, I know. Living your
We're
life now.
planning for a future, but living life now. I think that's essentially what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
very
It's finding
powerful.
that balance across the two. It really is. I say it to everybody I work with, and this is a large part of what I do with my retreats. I give people the space to stop and reconnect with where they are and where they want to get to, and let go of some of the past if they want to, but also recognize everything that's brought them to here. If I could change some of what, if I could click my fingers and change some of the past, I would, but I wouldn't, because I wouldn't be here having this conversation with you right now if I
Yeah.
hadn't been through and experienced everything I have up until this moment.
Yeah. Do you feel like as doing more business coaching that it's, I mean, everybody suffers from the same issues. It seems like there's take 10 issues and you're like, okay, you fit somewhere in that category. But it seems like when they're personal issues, it all comes back and that's usually what's ends up affecting the business issues, right? Have you noticed that?
Absolutely, they're intrinsically linked, and this actually really segues into kind of how I run my retreats, because I often talk in all of my messaging. I talk about life and business. So yes, I call myself a business mindset coach because people understand that terminology. I love helping business owners grow their businesses, but it's because I want them to have the life they want to have. I don't want them to grow a business and be completely burnt out and on their knees. I don't want them to come out the other side with I wish I'd. I want, that's kind of one of my mantras. I don't want to get to a certain age and be saying I wish we'd, I wish I'd. And I think we all learned a bit of that in COVID, and I know you had your experience in COVID too. We learned then how precious life is,
Yeah.
how quickly things can change, and none of us can see it coming. I don't want to live a life of I wish I'd. So, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I'm the boldest, I'm no fearless, but I still have all those things. And there are some things I probably do a bit of, come on, Shelley, I wish I'd done this by now. But yeah, that's kind of what I live by. And bringing people into retreat spaces kind of really enables us to remove all the blockers, all the noise of real life that stops us doing the things we really want to do. And for 3 whole days, people get to truly imagine, consider, and plan, what do I really want this to look like, business and life.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like it's different from going to like an event where you're working on personal development or mindset than it is going to a retreat. It just, the energy is different. You seem to, if the retreat leader's doing what they brought you there for, you're going to be more relaxed. Hopefully you're going to let go and make those shifts. So
Absolutely.
as someone who's doing retreats, what would you say to someone new listening that's thinking about it and have those fears and being held back? Like what advice would you give to them?
In terms of running retreats or attending a retreat, just for
I
clarity?
say running retreats.
Running. So, do you know what? I'd say don't leap. Okay. This is one of the few times in life where I say don't just leap at it, because there's a lot to consider. But I would
Yeah.
absolutely say explore it and really explore what is it that you're worried about, and go find people. That's where this podcast that you're doing is absolutely brilliant, because I think we can go into running retreats with a level of naivety, and I think the first retreat is always going to be the hardest, but also the best, and it can't be matched. I remember when I ran my second retreat, about 12 hours in, I thought I wasn't doing a good enough job. And it was because I was comparing it to the high that I'd experienced, as well as my attendees of my first retreat. And I had to really have a chat with myself about, they're different people. This is a different experience, but that doesn't mean it's not as good. My point being, you don't really learn it till you're in it. But there's lots of practical pieces that those that have done a few can share with you.
Yeah.
The blockers, I mean, I could list you a ton of blockers. I could list you a ton of reasons that make it, it's not easy. I think that's the most important piece. I'm not going to sit here and say it's easy. And I think a lot of people think it's easier than it is to run a retreat. So, yeah,
I
but it's
think when
also
they
incredibly
have,
rewarding. Sorry.
no, you're fine. I think when they have a tribe of people already and it's filled instantly, I think that's the biggest struggle is when people are newer in their business. Like I teach people to add retreats as an additional income stream to your business.
Yeah.
Don't go
Yeah.
start a new business unless
No.
that is your business, is doing retreats, because you can make money on your retreats, but you also can upsell in your business. So if you're a business coach, of course you're going to want to sell them a coaching package or something. That's a
Right.
great way to bring them into your tribe. We talk about that all the time.
Absolutely. What's so important about what you said there is absolutely, you don't start out with retreats. That's my view. Everybody that came on my first retreat either was or had been a client of mine.
Yeah.
And even and the second retreat, 70% had been or were a client, or had referred to a client, referred me and said, well, look, if you're looking for a treat, you should go on this because she's that good. But it is that piece around, it is a big investment of time and
Yeah.
money. And so there has to be a level of trust already. To come and give someone 3-4 days of your life, they're going to need to have a level of trust in you already. So it's definitely a tiered piece. And like you just described there, it's a fundamental part of my offering now, and a lot of people buy packages of coaching and retreat placed together, and they sit perfectly
you
together.
package them together.
Yeah. So I've got kind of VIPs, if you like. I've got the highest level way of working with me is to commit to a length of time of coaching. I've got somebody that's on a 12-month coaching program with me and has a retreat place as part of that too.
Yeah, I think I'm seeing a lot more of that happening for the people that are doing it more for business. Of course, I mean, there's your ones where people, they don't want to think about business. They just want to go on a retreat with some other girls and chat it up and have massages and have a great time, go on a hike, whatever that looks like for them. And that's fine because there's lots of retreats like that as well.
Exactly. And I guess that's the other bit. So you kind of said, what would your advice be to someone? I think get clear on what you want your retreat to be is the wrong word, but like, what do you want? How do you want it to be? What do you want people to get out of it? And it's a little bit different to, it can be a little bit more challenging to give really specific, tangible results from a retreat perspective. But like you said, there is a retreat for everything. There is a form of retreat for everything. Be clear what category you want to fall into.
100%. I always mention a lot, Stephen R. Covey, he talks about the end in mind.
Begin with the end in mind.
Figure out, like you said, but then work backwards and what's it going to take to get that end result that you came up with. But if you don't know the end result, how are you going to get there?
Exactly that. It's like, and I read that book in the corporate world, often quote Stephen's begin with the end in mind. And I say all the time, you don't get in a car and just drive. You have a destination. You may not know how to get there, but you know where you're trying to get to. And that's when you then use sat nav or a map to work out the route. That's what we do.
What's the name of that book? 7 Habits
of Highly Effective People.
Highly Effective. 7 Habits to Highly Effective.
It's a great book, actually. Yeah.
It's a great book. If you haven't read it and you're listening, that's a great book to read. It definitely is a good way to structure things. And I had that laid out for me, even in my near-death experience. I had the end result, and it was like, wait, where's all the in-between stuff? I need all that.
There you go.
Go figure it out. Yeah. Stuff. Well, what's the best thing about running retreats, but what no one tells you? Like, do you have anything that you can gift our listeners about that?
I think, I don't know if no one tells you this, so I'm going to kind of go, what do I think the best thing? As a retreat leader, the best thing for me about running retreats is seeing the relationships that get formed. Like watching people that come into a space and didn't know each other at the beginning and leave as besties, like seeing them support one another as well. Because I think that gives each individual so much. So not only what they get for themselves, but being able to help others. Because it's not all on the shoulders of the retreat host. It is, but it isn't. The beauty of that space is how others support one another. And I think as a retreat host, I'd go back to advice then. Like if you run a retreat, find moments to just step back and take it all in. Yeah. Because I remember someone saying that about our wedding day, actually. Just try and find a moment at some point to stand back and look at what's going on around you. And I'd say the same about retreats. And I love those moments.
Yeah. I watched a movie yesterday, and the girl was teaching the guy that didn't know how to relax. He had never celebrated holidays, just the way he was raised. And she just had him take this deep breath. They're like in a forest, and take this deep breath in, and just like as he's doing it, just take all this in, take this moment in, take this feeling, take these smells. And as you exhale, just let it be out there. And anytime you need that feeling, you can get that feeling again if you just anchor that in. And I just love that.
And we're so, we live in a world where everything's so frenetic and fast and moving forward. So this year, the Dubai retreat this year is in a beautiful villa on the Palm, on one of the fronds of the Palm.
Oh, I'm jealous.
It was absolutely stunning. Next year, places 2026. And the night before all the guests arrived, so I had the house from the night before, and my husband came with me. And we sat out on this, this millionaire's mansion villa, sat out on the terrace. And I kind of just said to him, not done bad, have we? As I raise a little glass to us. And that was a moment for me to appreciate actually what was about to unfold, but also my journey to get here and to be able to deliver this. I feel grateful every day that I get to do this. And I think, that's what I'm saying to a retreat host. When you're in it, just find the moment to acknowledge that you're in it and enjoy it too, for you too.
And advice to the retreat leader too. I would give yourself a day before at least, and a day before after.
Absolutely. I'd probably say 2 days after, because I think people don't realize how much it takes out of you.
Yeah. If you're doing it right. I mean, not that you wore out after having one, but you are there of service, and you are there to be the expert in whatever you're doing. So give yourself that little extra self-care and space. I think that's
well,
great.
and certainly, first retreats, people will often tell you retreats are not always, they're not always profitable. They're very often not profitable. It's about the ripple effect and what comes. And particularly your first retreats, if you don't have very often, if you're building your reputation as a retreat host, you won't necessarily have the funds for a team of people to do it all. I remember my first retreat, I was, up in the morning, getting the breakfast sorted. Yes, I had, catering coming in, but breakfast was on me. I was running around clearing up after people. I was wearing all the hats and hosting and being coach. I honestly, by the end of the week, was just like, I need 48 hours. No one talked to me at all. And I'm an extrovert. So for me to say that, it's quite a lot.
Yeah, that's part of the end result, but budgeting everything to that, because
100%.
really you need to come up with all your pricing, what it's costing you, before you can figure out what you're going to charge. And a lot of people make that mistake, and they just throw a number out there, start promoting it, and then they don't figure in their swag bags and the extra food and snacks and things that really add up quickly. And you want to have a good experience.
Absolutely.
Just to finish up here, is there any last gift or tip that you can have for our guests?
I think, if I'm honest, I'd go really practical, and I'd have probably gone with exactly as you've just shared, that piece around, I think we can get swept up. And I've described, actually, for me, that first one kind of came about when I ran with it. But if I'd got swept up too quickly, I could have found myself financially in quite a difficult position. The model of retreats depends on what you want to do. I choose to hire luxury villas and have really safe space. I don't do it in hotels. That's a big on cost, and you've got to sit and map all that out to then go, right, now I work backwards, begin with the end in mind, to what I want to charge. And that can be quite scary, I think, for a retreat host, but it's really important to do.
You off at first, financially, especially. Usually you're paying out 30% up front and doing some things there. So it is scary. Poll your audience would be what I would suggest first, and put it out there. Hey, who would be interested in going with me to Dubai for a retreat for just the girls, or something that get people to see what they feel about it. If no one's answering and nobody's saying, yeah, that'd be me, or raising their hand, then maybe now's the time.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a really important one.
Well, Shelley, this was great. I had a great conversation. I'm sure we could keep on talking, but how would people get a hold of you?
Easiest place to find me is on Instagram, Shelley Bosworth. That's with an E before the Y, SHELLEY. But I'm the only Shelley Bosworth official on Instagram. So come find me there. That's where I like to hang out the most.
We'll put it in the show notes so that people can also click on there. But if you're able to grab it from listening, that's great. Okay. Well, thanks again for sharing with us.
Thank you.
Enjoy your evening, because it's way late there compared to here.
Enjoy your day. Thank you so much for having me, Holly.
Thanks, everyone. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of All Things Retreat. We hope you're leaving with new ideas, fresh inspiration, and the motivation to take your retreats to the next level. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It helps us grow and reach more retreat leaders like you. And if you have any questions, topics you'd like us to cover, or just want to say hello, send us an email at info@weretreatrnr.com. Follow us on social media to stay connected and catch all the latest updates. Until next time, remember, great retreats start with great intentions. Let's make them extraordinary, one step at a time. Thinking about hosting a retreat? Before you dive in, let's make sure you're really ready. Grab your free Are You Retreat Ready checklist and find out if you've got everything in place, from your purpose and pricing to your audience and agenda. Don't guess. Get clear. This quick checklist will show you exactly where you stand and what you need to make your retreat a success. Click the link below in the show notes to grab your gift and take the first step toward hosting with confidence.